Let me introduce my guest for the morning, Adam Mutawakilu. He's a Member of Parliament for Damango. Thanks for joining me this morning. How are you? I have Emmanuel Wilson, is it the national organizer of the People's National Convention? I'm right about your position.
Right.
You haven't changed it, have you?
We haven't gone for Congress yet.
I'm sorry.
But I'm surprised you are seeking my change so early.
I'm not a member of your party, so there's no way I would have sought you.
Don't worry. So we are preparing hopefully to go for Congress. We are hoping to go for an early Congress, latest by the first quarter of next year. We are hoping to go for Congress.
Is that not too late?
No, you see, per our constitution, the executives have a 4-year mandate. And if you recall, we had our elections in February 2012. And so if you are going straightly by the constitution, then we should be ending our mandate February 2016. But we've realized that that will not be so good for us, particularly in preparing for 2016 elections. And so we are, working out to see how best we can go for an early Congress. So what it means is that any Congress before February 2016 is deemed an early Congress. And we are hoping to do so probably in the first quarter of next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Who are you electing for your flag bearer this time?
Congress normally decides, and hopefully Congress decides based on the individuals who avail themselves.
All right, so now let's look at the subject or the issue this morning, and we all know that the capital, Accra, experienced some extreme shortages of fuel, and we had long queues in many of the communities, and that is well depicted on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Fuel shortage is a question that the Ghanaian Times shouldn't have asked in the first place because it was visible when they were going around. So apparently there were shortages, so they should have known. But I guess they just wanted to err on the side of caution. And so that's the situation, Mr. Mutawakilu.
Thank you very much.
I know MPs usually you have constant supply, so you don't go through the difficulties that we go through in queuing when there are shortages, man-made. Because these are man-made shortages.
That is the general perception.
Perception about what?
About
because yesterday I was queuing, I didn't see any MP's vehicle.
My car is parked.
I went around from Adabaka.
I didn't have fuel to buy. 2, government
anyway, you're saying this for
Parliament doesn't provide us with fuel subsidy or any money for fuel. Whatever we buy comes from our salary.
No, I'm not saying government provides fuel for you.
So let's...
I haven't said that here.
So I'm just like you. 2 days ago, I have to also go
sir,
around.
You're not like me. You're an MP for God's sake. You're not like me. If you were like me...
So 2 days ago, I have to go round and round, and finally, my friend has to help me out to be able to get fuel.
Politician, they never say the truth.
No,
I'm not saying you are lying.
It's a fact.
What you're saying is a fact.
But that's exactly what you are saying.
Yeah.
That is lying.
It's a fact.
Okay, so what do you make of the current fuel shortage?
Yeah, it's quite a worry, and it has brought into bear whether we should go full deregulation, where subsidies will be taken off, or we should still pressurize on government to subsidize. This one is as a result of subsidy that the government have accumulated over a period, and he's unable to pay promptly. And as such, the BDCs, then that is the bulk oil distribution companies, decided that without the payment of such an amount, it will be very difficult for us to continue providing the fuel that we need. And that is the question. And government has asked that said by next week, the liability will be settled. But however, they should engage them effectively to ensure that we are provided with fuel within the shortest possible time, because we can't wait up to next week before we get fuel. The queues are being formed. This will reduce productivity, man-hour lost, and locked. So I heard that NPA should, National Petroleum Authority should effectively engage the BDCs, at least once the government has promised by next week they will be paid. They should relieve us of this shortage that we are going through.
Well, Wilson, we've come to the point. Government, or, well, is it government or the state? We're being more reactionary than being proactive, because the signs had been on the wall. The BDC heads had given the indications for the last couple of days, if not more than a week. And so nothing was done until we've had shortages and Ghanaians are complaining. Before we're being told that the president has issued a directive for an amount to be paid to the BDCs.
Well, this is very, very unfortunate, and it is just a sign and a clear indication that as a nation we seem not to be having our priorities right. Unlike other progressive states where they want to be proactive, we always do what we call fire service management kind of in this country, where we wait for situation to arise before we quickly come and quench it. And unfortunately, after quenching it, we go back to sit down instead of us digging deep to find out the root cause so that we can, you know, fight it from the root cause. We just bring the fire down, and when it gets to a controllable state, we go back and fold our arms and wait for it to regenerate again. This issue, clearly, the signs were on the wall, and all of us knew that clearly if government is unable to pay subsidies for a particular period, as you rightly described it, this man-made shortage will be seen. I do not see why we should be spending 3-4 hours of our productive time in queue looking for fuel to buy. There are cars that I know of that have parked simply because the owners could not get fuel to, you know, put into their tank for the car to move on. Yesterday, for instance, I was driving through town as late as 9-10 p.m. There were vehicles that were queuing, you know, waiting to get to their tent for them to fuel their vehicles. Now, the question that came in mind was that if I should spend this time, you know, of my period in queue, getting home around 11-12, what am I mind sleeping? What am I mind waking up? How refreshed would I be to tackle the challenges for the next day? These are all things that affect productivity. And so if as a nation we are unable to appreciate the issue in totality, I would not be surprised that every now and then there are difficulties as far as the economic activities are concerned. And every now and then we need to marshal the little resources to be going to either Senshi or wherever to go and, you know, sit over tables and try to find out solutions when clearly we know the actual difficulties that affect us. There are individuals who are advocating for government to say that, look, if government is not prepared to or is not able to ensure that the subsidies are catered for, then let us take it off, so that at least all of us know that we are having a full cost, you know, recovery, and then we will be sure that there's going to be fuel available for us. I do not share in that view, and I do not share in it at all. You see, government, as far as this nation is concerned, I'm very confident, and I keep saying that we have what it takes to subsidize our fuel as it stands now. The only difficulty is that our inability to put first things first is what is causing all this problem. The loopholes and the wastages in the system, if we are able to curb them as a nation, subsidizing fuel, crucial commodity as fuel, shouldn't be a problem for a nation like Ghana with all the resources that we have, the natural resources, the human resources, and all that you can imagine of. So as far as I am concerned, and as far as my party is concerned, we do not support a bit the argument that government should take away subsidy. Taking away subsidy will not be the cure for us having smooth flow of fuel in this country.
So it means that, okay, you wanted to add.
So what is causing the shortage?
The
Is
BDCs,
it inability to pay?
the BDCs had indicated prior to the current situation we're seeing that they had at least in excess 1 week stock of fuel, but they would only release them to the various oil marketing companies if the 1.8 billion Ghana cedi debt owed by the state was paid to the various oil marketing companies.
That's right.
That is what I'm saying.
Companies.
He just indicated, and I said, what is causing the shortage is because we've not been able to pay subsidies.
That's right.
And I also indicated clearly that...
But not necessarily, it's not because consumers have not been in a position to pay subsidies.
Whether... No,
it's the government.
The government absorbs some of the prices.
No, I do understand that. And as a result...
we need to engage with the public. Because in 2007, NPA was set up and deregulation processes started to make sure that we have full recovery instead of under recovery. But it has taken a long way. And we need to engage the public to know and to let them understand that at the stage we are, where we are lower middle income, whereby most of the grants and aids that used to come no longer come, the wage bill has increased per the internally generated funds, and explain so many issues to them so that gradually we get rid of subsidies. It's very critical because there are several resources, priorities, energy, agri, industry. Then they said they have 1 week. That's why I said that the ministry should effectively engage the BDCs to let them be rest assured, that the Minister of Finance, to be rest assured that next week they will be paid. If they are able to enter into certain agreement and they are convinced, they will be able to relieve us of what we're going through. And by next week, they should be able to pay them. And that's why I said they should be effectively. There is something also, actually, I'm not comfortable. If we have Minister of Finance, which is supposed to be proactive, and always they have to rely on the president to give them directives, I have a problem with that. They shouldn't even let the president come. The president should be the last person to
Then it means that you should have a problem with all the various ministries.
So that is
because, for example, we've had difficulties in the sports ministry, and the president will have to come in. A lot of the things the president just comes to intervene.
This is a problem I don't feel comfortable
with your administration.
Yes, that's
with your administration.
Because if you are appointed to a position, you have to relieve some of the responsibilities that the president...
Of the appointee?
Yes, you, the appointee.
Because you are the head of this.
You are the head. But 1, 2, 3, the president has to come and give directives. 1, 2, 3, the president has to come and...
What does it show to you as a politician? What does it mean?
We need to sit up.
No.
Well,
beyond the issue of sitting, what does it
mean? Let me just come. It tells me clearly that we are not appointing the right individuals. I mean, we are having wrong. If teachers will go on strike and it has to take the president to come in, if Black Star players will have to agitate and it has to take the president to come in, if there are difficulties with the Ministry of Finance and the president has to come in, every aspect of the sector, practically where there are difficulties, the president has to come in. I mean, Tuesday, 2 days ago, not today's Friday, so but this week, we have the traders union going on strike, and I'm very confident within a short.
If the president is available,
the president will have to come in. So clearly, where is even the minister or the Ministry of Trade? It tells us clearly. You may not want to say it as it is probably because it is your administration, but the truth of the matter is that it is clear that we are not admitting or we are not appointing the right caliber of individuals to head the various sectors. If we are, things wouldn't be going as it is.
With Guta, I've listened to the deputy minister.
I hope we are not digressing of the issue. We're talking oil. We'll have time to talk about it.
What I'm getting worried is the frequent interventions.
Yes.
Yeah, I get worried because I expected that they should be able to solve it at that level.
On this very subject of the BDCs, they had given indication, I believe, a week or two earlier, that these are the timelines they are giving government, and these are the things or conditions that need to be met. Otherwise, these are the actions they would take. Why is it that we're not very proactive on trying to resolve some of the difficulties that tend to confront the various entities that will have difficulties with the way their sectors need to work?
Yeah, I think the Minister of Finance need to explain into details which period of the month they have some reliefs, where they have some briefing space. and which period of the month they have some difficulties. We are human beings, and if we make it very clear, as at now, salaries are being paid. So there will be pressure on the government to make sure that salaries are being settled. So if they explain to them, and I think they are human beings as well, and they operate organizations whereby during the period of payment of their workers, they know the difficulties that they go through, and therefore per government, they will be willing to say, okay, we'll give you 2 weeks when things are okay, and you have a brief period whereby there will be some relief, then you settle it. And I think it's very important that we engage them effectively on this, and not say, okay, by 30th or when we know definitely that time, we will be hard pressed because we have to make sure that the people of Ghana and our workers receive salaries. So they should engage them more effectively and explain situation clearly to them. And I think that if they come out as they have gone, we explain that A, B, C, D, and therefore it is E that will be able to settle them. I think Ghanaians will understand us and then see the way we forward.
Roland, just a brief. I think as a nation we must begin taking ourselves seriously, and we must begin appreciating that, look, time is not waiting for us. And, you know, every serious nation seems to be progressing, but we as a nation, Ghana, we seems to be marking time. We stand where we are.
Well, we're progressing, but
We
not
are progressing.
How
we're progressing, but not progressing in the right in some areas.
Fantastic.
But you shouldn't say it's all gloomy. Seriously.
I mean, clearly
you shouldn't
speaking,
all say it's all gloomy.
fantastic. And I mean, yes, clearly speaking, you cannot generalize and say that we are not progressing in every aspect. But there are some crucial aspects that we expect that certain things should not be happening. Look, if Ministry of Finance knows that at this particular period, this is the amount of money we owe, what prevented Ministry of Finance doing that intervention and doing that communication and negotiation as you are proposing? Why should we have to wait till this minute for things to go out of hand before we begin doing this? That's why I'm saying that this attitude of fire service management should stop as a nation, because the more we try doing this fire service attitude, the more we seem to be where we are as a nation. Can we imagine, can we quantify the loss of productivity for the past few days as a result of fuel shortage? If we are still talking about causing financial loss to the state, then I'm very sure that this is an aspect of causing financial loss to the state that we need to look at. If someone who has been appointed and is supposed to do what he's supposed to do, refused to do what he's supposed to do, and as a result has affected all of us as a nation, then clearly speaking, that person needs to answer certain questions. We need not just sit down and allow things to be going as it is going. It is not helping us as a nation.
So particular wants to come to.
Yeah, when he said we are not progressing, I don't support it. Let's take the...
I also don't. That's
what I'm saying.
No,
that
there were times.
Probably what I needed to
no, I think he's put his statement in perspective.
Yeah.
So we are not progressing. I mean, not holistically, but probably there are certain aspects that we are doing very well, and there are certain aspects. So I'm saying that obviously we shouldn't allow things to go as it is going.
Because
Now
I wanted to just give you a little bit.
No, I agree.
Some time ago, oil refinery nearly collapsed.
Yes,
That's the time I refined.
Yeah, they thought that
Was
was
so huge. I agree.
We managed to clear it in
Was it 2 billion
2010.
debt?
Yeah, over. Yes. And that was putting stress, suffocating Ghana Commercial Bank. And
we'll pass that stage.
2010. We are making progress.
No, don't belabor the point.
Ghana Commercial Bank is one of the best performing
The point I'm
banks.
making,
So it's
I
very
agree. The point I am making is that there are certain things that we could have prevented. And for us to allow those things to happen and at the end of the day affect all of us as a nation and affect the economy, then I'm saying the individuals that have been appointed to ensure that those things do not happen, we need to get them to answer certain questions. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Of course, clearly, you cannot say there's no why. Even the worst economy in this world, we cannot say that that economy is not progressing in certain aspects. So there's progress. in totality, you cannot say generalizing the whole thing. You cannot say that the economy is not doing well. There are certain aspects that the economy is doing well. But the point I'm making is that there are certain things that we need not allow to happen. And so for us to allow it to happen and for it to, at the end of the day, affect all of us as a nation and affect the economy, then I'm saying the individuals that have been appointed to ensure that those things do not happen, those individuals...
Point well made. Now let's come to the subject of whether this is just an ad hoc measure. Indeed it is. So are we just going into a certain cycle where we're going to, the debts again will pile up, then we're coming to the point where we need to be very much proactive or reactive to it. Now let's get to the point of the issue of whether the consumer really needs to pay what the prices are internationally for, realistically. And we're calling it full cost recovery, is that not?
Yes.
Yeah. Can we do that?
It is very, very important that
we
engage. We can do that. Let's engage the public very well. Let them know the difficulties that we're going through, and therefore the effect it will have if government continues to subsidize. And that is one of them we're going through. And therefore, if we don't take time, people will buy the same liter 3, 4, 5 times the price, as it is happening in Iraq, as a result of these Sunni
attacks. And insurgency.
Yeah, the second largest refinery is down, and because there's shortage, black market will come. And when it comes, you pay far more than what you would have paid if there's full cost recovery. So we need to engage the public very well, and then make sure gradually we do the full time, so that at least there is constant supply of the petroleum products. It's better than we're going through this cycle, because those freebies we used to get are no more there.
But the Iraqi conflict is not because of fuel shortages.
No, this one, that one has triggered oil prices going up. But in Ghana is the shortage, because the DDC said government hasn't settled their indebtedness.
Full cost recovery.
I will not support a bit, as I mentioned earlier on. Neither will my party support a full cost recovery in this state. And I will even find it so difficult to hear any person who comes from the current administration or the current party in power who believes in social democracy to even advocate for a full cost recovery, particularly in this situation and the current state of the nation. I am still confident that if the state is committed to subsidizing, clearly the state will be able to do that. The loopholes in this country is absolutely too much. And if we are able to manage our resources very well, and we are able to ensure that the unnecessary spendings are reduced and controlled, we will then be able to raise revenue to ensure that we subsidize the fuel. But as it stands now, Roland, I do not support a bit that anyone should advocate for a full cost recovery. The states, I mean, Ghana, currently, we are not in that position. As Ghanaians, we are not in the hardships, and the economic indicators are not so favorable for us as consumers to go in and say that we are going to pay exactly what we need to pay as far as the fuel is concerned. If the state is committed, it is all about commitment. If the state is committed and we are able to put our priorities right, I am saying we have the resources. I am saying that we have, so many loopholes that we can seal, and we can use those resources in ensuring that we subsidize the fuel for the nation.
Let me just respond. He mentioned as a social democrat. Yes, but we believe as a social democratic party, the 1.8 billion that will be paid, and if you do your statistics very well, those people who consume the petroleum product much are the rich,
yes,
and those above the middle income status. They consume about 80%. Now, if this 1.8 billion subsidies, assuming it was income that we use to develop those who are far below the poverty line, to also bring them up, invest them in health, education, roads, agri, to make sure that we engage them productively. That is what social democracy looks at.
Fantastic.
So if the majority of those who consume they are rich people. And therefore, we continue to subsidize, making them more better off. Why don't we take it? And that is why the government is implementing these solar lanterns. Because we realize that when it comes to kerosene, most of them, these oil companies buy them in larger quantities, dilute it, and sell. So if you go to the rural area, the price at which it is bought at Accra is not the same price at which it's bought at the village. It's far much above what is. What the government decided is that let's provide enough solar lanterns so that those who will be buying the kerosene will have solar lantern and therefore can use it. And therefore we can scrap off the what? The subsidies.
Fantastic.
So if you do your statistics very well, in terms of social democracy,
but currently the variables, the income levels just don't support it. I think that's what Wilson is trying to do.
Aside that, Roland, it will be very, very, very difficult for me to understand that this is what social democracy is all about. And say that because the rich can buy fuel, the rich can buy fuel, let us take away the subsidy, and then the subsidy will use it to develop the so-called unrich individuals. See, let me give you an analogy. If I'm a medical doctor and I'm deemed to be rich, and so I can buy fuel, and at the end of the day, I am unable, I'm unable to go and purchase the fuel. I am unable to go and purchase the fuel. And because of that, I do not get the chance of driving my vehicle to the hospital to go and take care of the so-called unrich individuals. And those individuals, as a result of my absence, are not able to access medical attention, and they lose their life, or something happens to them. And you come and tell me that I am taking away the subsidy to ensure that the rich man, accesses the fuel, and then the ordinary person, we are able to use the subsidy to develop the person. And at the end of the day, the ordinary person is not able to access my services. Then what do we mean by we are taking care of the unrich persons? You understand? If you take the argument and you do not appreciate it holistically, then that's your argument, what you are pushing for, will stand. But I'm saying, as a nation, let us begin looking at things holistically. And let us say that, look, whether you are rich or not, your inability to do A or B or C will directly or indirectly will affect the other person. Why? You are even looking at just one sector and say that they're rich persons, forgetting that there are individuals who buy fuel into trotro. And so if the fuel goes up, transportation will go up. If transportation goes up, that individual who you seek to be protecting because they are unrich, carrying foodstuffs from point A to point B, at the end of the day, that person will also put the increment in the transportation on the fuel, on the foodstuffs. Comes to the market, if it is.
So there's always a ripple effect because of the economics of it.
Exactly. So
we do understand. We do understand the way the economics of it.
Don't let us look at it from just one aspect. But let's realize that, look, if fuel increments or fuel prices go up, it will affect everybody, including the so-called unrich persons that we seek to be protected.
That is very good. That is very good, because it has an inelastic demand.
Of course.
But the purpose of subsidies is not for the rich. You go and look at it. Subsidies are not for rich or those below, above the middle income. Let's put it in this case. Now the doctor doesn't even, he has the money and cannot even buy.
We do understand. It depends on.
Take away the doctor.
Now, listen.
Take away the doctor.
You use the doctor.
Gentlemen,
I'm analyzing it.
Now, listen to me.
I'm just analyzing it.
Now, listen to me. I know where you're making your analysis from, but it depends on what type of subsidies you're talking about.
Yes.
So
we are talking about fuel subsidies.
But you are talking about fuel subsidies, and you are.
Let me make his point, and then you can.
Now, assuming now the situation, the doctor cannot even get fuel to even go to the hospital. What happens? At least, if the fuel is full tank, maybe instead of buying full tank, he'll be able to buy half a tank because it's available. But now he cannot. And therefore, what is the cost of it? Now the doctor gets up, I don't even have fuel to go out. Will he still go to the hospital? One. When you say it translates, yes. But if we invest that subsidy in increasing the production, It depends on the quantity. If they are able to increase agri production, even though prices might go up, but because of the quantity, the cost per unit on each will fall. And that is what we call economies of scale. Because if we use it to increase production, a farmer that produces says $5, because you supported him with the balance of the subsidy that you would have used, he's able to increase it to $30. Even though fuel prices will go 20, divide that 20% over 30, and that of this. So you see,
there's a surplus somewhere.
It's a surplus somewhere.
No, you see, the point is that we don't have to belabor the point about what the economics of it will be, whether there will be subsidies or not. But also we need to take in certain variables, and there are certain indicators as far as the growth of a population is concerned, that will give costs whether we need to go on a certain trajectory as far as the policy dimension is concerned. So we also need to put that into perspective.
But you see, just a second. The point I'm making is this: you don't need the 1-point-something million subsidy to develop agri in this country. You don't need that to develop other sectors in this country. I'm saying that if we are committed in developing various sectors of this country, we have the resources and we have what it takes to do that. Other than saying we are taking out subsidy for fuel to go into those sectors. That is all the point I'm making.
Have the resources.
We do. It's all about management.
Wilson, do you think that realistically we need to come to the realization that at some point we have to remove the politics out of the argument when we're talking about key variables or indicators that tend to influence or affect the livelihoods of the population?
I agree.
And I'm talking about Ghanaians here.
No, I agree.
And so would it be possible that if we want to undertake, well, the policy of full-scale recovery, Ghanaians will need to pay realistic prices for fuel?
I do not have any problem with that. I'm saying as it stands now,
it's not possible.
It's not possible. And it will not be very fair.
But
in the near future, it can be if we are able to put a structure as well.
Yes. It may be possible.
But not now. As
we're
it stands
talking
now,
about,
we shouldn't be arguing